All right, well, let's start with a short prayer. In our prayer book, we'll do the short refuge prayer on page 5 and the four immeasurable prayer on page 6. And then we're going to engage in a short meditation. Going to try something, do something a little different. So we begin with the short refuge prayer. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chonam la, shangju badu dagni kapsu chi, dagi jinso ki pe sonam gi, jola penshir sangye jupa sho. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Manam kadam yampe semchen she dewa dang dewe gurdang dempar jorchi. Dugnal dang dunal gi gudang drawar jorchi. Dugnal me pe dewa dang mi drawar jorchi. May ring chagdang ni dang drawe tang namla ne pa jorchi. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments about anything we've been talking about thus far? Any current events you want to talk about?
I have a question.
Yes.
But what have we been talking about so far?
What have we been talking about so far?
Yeah.
The King of Prayers.
Okay. I just want to make sure I hadn't missed anything.
No, we've been proceeding along King of Prayers, and we had a good, interesting conversation last week. And then we had the film For the Benefit of All Beings a couple of weeks ago. So I was thinking that years ago, when I first learned how to meditate, one of the first things that really helped was to have a mantra. That was a big deal, you know, to find a teacher that would give you a mantra. And it was important to me then. And now there's many mantras, you know, there's many things that we can do that we can recite. But I think it's helpful to have a mantra that we kind of go back to. So what I'd like to do is to enter into a meditation practice, nothing serious, you know, nothing real, but just repeating the mantra, understanding the meaning of the mantra, and using the mantra as a springboard to help us to leap into, as we were talking about last week or over the weekend, the quietude. Because I think it was Gary who was mentioning that he was doing a practice last week, and he got to this place of quietude. Is that not correct? Is that the word you used?
Yes, well, it's I got to a place, and what I meant by that was I was really in a zone, as it were, where I just wasn't thinking. I was like mesmerized in solemn silence and at rest, and the angst that I often feel rising up in the pit of my stomach was just gone. I was just I had just been meditating, and somehow I slipped into it. It was like, I wish I could patent this. Somehow I found a way to do this, and I don't find a way to do exactly that too often, but that's the objective. So that taught me what the goal was like if I could get there again.
Okay, great. So a mantra is called a mind protection. The definition of a mantra is mind protection. Mantra is a Sanskrit word. It means mind protection. So by using a mantra, repeating it over and over again, it kind of, everything else kind of, shuts down. We're only thinking about the mantra, the meaning of the mantra. We're only reciting the mantra. Our body is engaged in the mantra. Our intellect is engaged in reciting the mantra. And like I've said many times, it's like a key that opens up, and our heart center opens up, our true nature. And that quietude comes out of that. So I'd like to offer you, everyone, this mantra. It's Om Mani Padme Hum. We've recited this many, many times. So it's not anything new, but the importance of it is, so we shouldn't take for granted. We should use it. If we're not entering into a meditation, this may help us to do that. So without any further ado, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om, O-M, if you want to write it down so you have the words in front of you. Om is the expression that symbolizes the body, speech, and mind of our true nature. The body, speech, and mind of our true nature. So we are that is inhabited within us. Our true nature is inhabited with us, and that Om is the expression of that. It also means attention. It means behold. So it means, behold, here I am. Here is the embodiment of this true nature. So Om. Then the next word is Mani, M-A-N-I. And that simply means a jewel. It's a jewel of the earth. It's a treasure. It's something of the earth, And so we say Om Mani, and Padme, the word Padme, P-A-D-M-E, Padme is the lotus flower, is the Sanskrit word for lotus flower. And as we are sitting in this body position right now, some of us are, and it's very helpful to adopt this position when we're doing any kind of meditation practice, to sit in this cross-legged, Indian style, posture. We call it either the Vajra posture, or we call it the lotus posture. It's the posture with our legs are crossed and our back is straight, and so on. And this lotus, as you might recall, is regarded as the rising up from the defilement of the pond from which it comes, the muck and mire, and then pierces the surface of the water, and then this beautiful lotus blossom comes out that is unstained by any of the defilements from which it comes. So that is Padme. And then Hum is the indestructible wisdom mind that this manifests as. This is the holy indestructible mind that manifests in our heart center. So we say Om Mani Padme Hum. Behold the jewel in the lotus. Behold the jewel in the lotus is the literal translation in English. So you can recite that. That can be your mantra. Behold the jewel in the lotus. And then you can switch where you can go Om Mani Padme Hum. But by doing this over and over again, if you have mala beads, if you have beads, you should get your beads. If you don't have beads and you want a set of beads, I'll be happy to give you a set. And you can begin by each recitation, Om Mani Padme Hum is one bead. So there can be a melody. There doesn't have to be a melody. It can be in English. It can be in Tibetan or any other language. But the point is that you're creating a mind protection, a focus of mind. So this is the first mechanical step, really, of developing a meditation practice. So you can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, whatever you prefer to do. We sit in the classic meditation position with our back straight, and our hands can be 4 inches below our navel in the classic meditation position. They can be at your knees, they can be holding the beads, whatever. And your eyes can be open or closed. Your chin is down. So your head is down a little bit, and the visualization is like a noble horse, with great speed and great agility and so on. Our tongue, well, we're going to be reciting. So our tongue is going to be very active. So with this, if you can keep this in mind and recite Om Mani Padme Hum with us, and we'll use the melody to begin, and then we'll go into a chant. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Please turn your microphones off so we're not feeding back onto each other. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Please continue. Om Mani Padme Hum. Just listen to me for a minute. So we're sitting here in this Vajra position and just visualize that we are in the lotus position and that our body is the jewel. We are the jewel. Our body, speech, and mind is the jewel in the lotus. Behold the jewel in the lotus as we are continuing chanting this mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Please continue chanting, keep reciting the mantra. Listen to me and just visualize that this Mani mantra, this mantra is vibrating. And if we are saying this out loud, which we should be doing, we should be letting our body vibrate along with every one of these syllables. Om Mani Padme Hum. We're vibrating out loud. It's not something that we do quietly. It's something we do with power and with deliberation, with good deliberateness. And we are reciting this. And as we do this, we can feel the vibration in our body, in the center of our body, in our heart center. And this is where our true nature is, in our heart center. So we are opening up our wisdom mind, our true mind, our heart mind, as we recite Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Shri. Stay relaxed, keep your back straight. Feel your body vibrating. Just relax in the quietude. Okay. Open your eyes. Thank you. Behold the jewel in the lotus. Would anyone like to make a comment about chanting Om Mani Padme Hum? Okay.
I can.
Okay.
I guess it's my chanting history, but I can't help picking up the pace. My mouth seems to remember it better if it's if I'm chanting at a good clip, and with my little emphysema, I seem to get out a lot more chants per breath, and you know, I get bonus points for my mala rounds too, so I like that. But at that clip, I get to hear it buzz in my head, my sinuses, my throat, and then if I sit up straight, yeah, it actually buzzes in my heart region, which is really heartwarming. It's really sort of shakes things loose. I can just imagine it shaking loose all the fat in my heart arteries, and, you know, cleansing. Yeah, it's very cleansing.
Well, let's hope that's successful. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have a comment? All right, then let's go to the King of Aspiration prayers. And we'll continue with this. So we need to recite this from the beginning part. So everybody has their book, I presume, the booklet. So Gary, will you begin on page 1, please? You recite page number 1. And then let's see. Then Rebecca, will you recite page 2, please? And then let me see. Michael, will you recite page 3, please? And page 4, Ed, will you recite page 4, please? And page 5, Grant, will you recite page 5? And Tom, will you recite page 6? And then Soho, will you recite tonight?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Will you recite page 7, please?
Okay.
Okay. And let me see, then page 8, I think we've got everybody at least once. I know Thomas prefers not to recite. So if, let me see, so I'll recite page 8. And then Gary, will you recite page 9, please? I know you were doing, I think, page 1 and page 9. So if everybody's ready, then
I think I had page 4. Is that correct, Lance?
well, I don't remember. Oh, wait a minute. I did write it down. Yes, you have page 4.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I wrote it down to make sure everybody gets a chance to do each one of these pages, to encourage you to recite the entire thing. Okay. So Gary, when you're ready, please, the title and carry on. And everybody can recite along with him, or you can just read along with the person who's reciting and think about what the meaning is.
7 preliminaries for purifying the mind. To all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, and all directions of the universe, through past and present and future, to every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear. vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many times as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. And every atom beside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their Bodhisattva heirs. And so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality, saluting them with an endless ocean of praise. With the sounds of an ocean of different melodies, I sing of all the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha, I make offerings of the loveliest flowers, of beautiful garlands, of music and perfumed ointments, the best of parasols, the brightest lamps and finest incense. To every Buddha, I make offerings, exquisite garments and the most fragrant scents, powdered incense heaped as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas and moved by the power in my faith in good actions, I prostrate and offer to you, to all you victorious ones.
Whatever negative acts I have committed, while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body, my speech, and also with my mind, before you I confess and purify each and every one. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice at all the merits of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, and the Arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. You who are like beacons of light shining through the worlds, who passed through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all, I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Joining my palms together, I pray to you who intend to pass into nirvana, remain for eons as many as the atoms in the world, and bring well-being and happiness to all beings. What little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offering, confession, and rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it I dedicate to the enlightenment of all beings. Let offerings be made to Buddhas of the past, and all who now dwell throughout the 10 directions of this universe. Let all who are yet to come swiftly fulfill their wishes and attain the stages of enlightenment and Buddhahood. Let as many worlds as there are in the 10 directions transform into realms that are vast and utterly pure, filled with Buddhas who have sat before the mighty Bodhi Tree, around them all their Bodhisattva sons and daughters. Let as many sentient beings as there are in the 10 directions live always and forever in happiness and health. Let all beings meet the Dharma that benefits them best, and so may all they hope for be fulfilled.
As I practice the training for enlightenment, may I recall all my previous births, and in successive lives through death and rebirth, may I always renounce the worldly life. Training in the footsteps of all the victorious Buddhas, may I bring good actions to perfection, and my moral conduct be taintless and pure, never lapsing and always free from fault. In the language of the gods, Nagas and Yaksas, in the language of demons and humans too, in however many kinds of speech there may be, I shall proclaim the Dharma in the language of all. Taming my mind and striving in the paramitas, I will never forget the bodhicitta. May all my harmful actions and the obscurations they cause be completely purified, every single one. May I be freed from karma, harmful emotions, and the work of negativity, and act for all beings in the world, just like the lotus flower to which mud and water cannot cling, or sun and moon that course unhindered through the sky. Throughout the reach and range of the entire universe, I shall pacify completely the suffering of all the lower realms. I shall lead all beings to happiness and work for the ultimate benefit of each and every one. I shall bring enlightened action to perfection, serve beings as to suit their needs, teach them to accomplish good actions, and to continue this throughout all the eons to come. May I always meet and be accompanied by those whose actions accord with mine, and in body, speech, and mind as well. May our actions and aspirations always be one.
May I always meet spiritual friends who long to be of true help to me and who teach me the good actions. Never will I disappoint them. May I always behold the Buddhas here before my eyes, and around them all the Bodhisattvas, sons and daughters, without ever tiring throughout all the eons to come. May the offerings I make them be endless and vast. May I maintain the sacred teachings of the Buddhas and cause enlightened action to appear. May I train to perfection in good actions and practice these in every age to come. As I wander through all states of samsaric existence, may I gather inexhaustible merit and wisdom, and so become an inexhaustible treasury of noble qualities, of skill and discernment, of samadhi and liberation. In a single atom, may I see as many pure realms as atoms in the universe, and in each realm, Buddhas beyond all imagining. Encircled by all their Bodhisattva heirs, along with them, may I perform the actions of enlightenment. And so in each direction, everywhere, even on the tip of a hair, may I see an ocean of Buddhas, all to come in past, present, and future, in an ocean of pure realms. And throughout an ocean of eons, may I enter into enlightened action in each and every one. Each single word of a Buddha's speech, that voice with its ocean of qualities, bears all the purity of the speech of all the Buddhas, sounds that harmonize with the minds of all living beings. May I always be engaged with the speech of the Buddhas.
With all the power of my mind, may I hear and realize the inexhaustible melody of the teachings spoken by all the Buddhas of past, present, and future as they turn the wheels of Dharma. Just as the wisdom of the Buddhas penetrates all future eons, so may I too know them instantly. And in each fraction of an instant, may I know all that will ever be in the past, present, and future. In an instant, may I behold all those who are the lions of the human race, the Buddhas of past, present, and future. May I always be engaged in the Buddha's way of life and action, through the power of liberation where all is realized as like an illusion. On a single atom, may I actually bring about the entire array of pure realms of past, present, and future, and then enter into those pure Buddha realms in each atom and in each and every direction. When those who illuminate the world still to come gradually attain Buddhahood, turn the wheel of Dharma, and demonstrate the final profound peace of nirvana, may I always be in their presence. Through the power of swift miracles, the power of the vehicle like a doorway, the power of conduct that possesses all virtuous qualities, the power of loving kindness, all pervasive, the power of merit that is totally virtuous, the power of wisdom free from attachment, and the power of knowledge, skillful means, and samadhi, may I perfectly accomplish the power of enlightenment.
May I purify the power of karma, destroy the power of harmful emotions, render negativity utterly powerless, and perfect the power of good actions. I shall purify oceans of realms, liberate oceans of sentient beings, understand oceans of Dharma, realize oceans of wisdom, perfect oceans of actions, fulfill oceans of aspirations, serve oceans of Buddhas, and perform these without ever growing weary through oceans of eons. All the Buddhas throughout the whole of time attained enlightenment through good actions, and their prayers and aspiration for enlightened action, may I fulfill them all completely. The eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Amitabha, all good. So that I may act with a skill like his, I dedicate fully all these merits to purify my body, my speech, and my mind as well, to purify my actions in all realms. May I be the equal of Amitabha in his skill and good dedication. In order to perform the full virtue of good actions, I shall act accordingly to Manjushri's prayers of aspiration, without ever growing weary. In all the eons to come, I shall perfectly fulfill them, every one of his aims.
Let my Bodhisattva act be beyond measure. Let my enlightenment quality be measureless to keeping to this immeasurable activity. May I accomplish all the miraculous power of enlightenment. Extent of the aspiration, sentient beings are as limitless as the boundless expanse of space. So shall my prayer of aspiration for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. Whoever hears this kind of dedication prayer and yearn for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses faith, who gain true merit greater still, then by offering the victorious Buddha's infinite pure rhyme in every direction, all ornament with joys of offering them all the highest joys of God and humans. For as many eons as there are atoms in those rhymes, whoever truly makes this aspiration to good actions will never again be reborn in lowest rhymes. They will be free from harmful companions, and soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. They will acquire all kinds of benefit and live in happiness. Even in this present life, all will go well, and before long, they will become just like Samatha. All negative acts, even the fight of immediate retribution, whatever they have committed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified. If they recite this aspiration of God action, they will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent science. Be born in a good family and with a radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and all three worlds will honor them with offerings.
They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree, and there they will sit to benefit all sentient beings. Then, awaken into enlightenment, turn the wheel of Dharma, and tame Mara with all his hordes. The full result of keeping, teaching, or reading this prayer of aspirations of good actions is known to the Buddhas alone. Have no doubt supreme enlightenment will be yours. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience, and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future praise dedication as supreme, so now I dedicate all these roots of virtue for the beings to perfect good actions. When it is time for me to die, let all that obscures me fade away. So I look at Amitabha there in person and go at once to his pure land of Sukhavati. In that pure land, once I actualize every single one of all these aspirations, may I fulfill them, each and every one, and bring help to beings for as long as the universe remains. Born there in a beautiful lotus flower, in that excellent and joyous Buddha realm, may the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy foretelling my enlightenment.
Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emancipations sent out through the power of my mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in all the 10 directions. Through whatever small virtues I have gained by reciting this prayer of good actions, or this aspiration of good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings, prayers, and aspirations all be instantly accomplished. Through the true and boundless merit attained by dedicating this aspiration of good actions, may all those now drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme realm of Amitabha. May this king of aspirations bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect what is described in this holy prayer, uttered by Amitabha. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. By the blessings of the Buddhas who have attained the 3 kayas and the unchanging truth of reality, as well as the unwavering aspirations of the Sangha, may all the aspirations and dedication prayers be fulfilled.
Oh, Ma Huang. Thank you very much, everybody. Does anybody have any questions before we resume talking about each section here?
Yes, Lance. Quick
Yes.
question. Section page 8,
Mhm.
first sentence. The dedication towards serving others. No, that's page 9. Page 9. Having received the prophecy there. On the book I have, it has with my billions of emanations. Is that what do you have in yours?
Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emancipations.
Emancipations. Oh, I have emanations.
Well, it should be emancipations.
Emancipations. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how you got that copy. It must have been an earlier copy.
Okay. Okay.
That's an Uber emanation. I mean, an Uber emancipation is an emanation. Congratulations.
I just want to check and make sure.
Yeah, I have to say one cannot help to be lifted up by the prose and the meter and the rhythm and the sheer positivity of it.
Yeah, it's a magnificent prayer, isn't it? So where we left off was we had been talking about, let me see. We've been talking about the actual aspiration. We've been talking about the aspiration of different methods for good actions, listening to the speech of the Buddhas and so on. And the aspiration on page 5, we page section 12, the aspiration to the power of enlightenment through the 9 powers. So engaging those 9 powers through our practice and our devotion. And then the aspiration to the antidotes that pacify the obscurations. So recognizing that we have defilements, that we have obscurations, we have blockages, but there are antidotes and that we are dedicated to those. And the aspiration to enlighten activities for the benefit of others. And then we came to the aspiration for training. Section number 15, this is where we left off. So how is it that we engage to be able to help other beings? So the aspiration for training. So first, our aspiration for training is to emulate the Buddhas. So it says all the Buddhas throughout the whole of time attained enlightenment through good actions, and their prayers and aspirations for enlightened action, may I fulfill them all completely. So as we engage, as we do deity yoga practices, and this is something that is special to the Vajrayana, to Tibetan Buddhism, is visualizing the Buddhas and visualizing ourselves becoming the Buddhas. We are generating ourselves to become the Buddhas. We're generating the visualization of them, and we are completing that by our becoming those Buddhas. So by way of doing that, by practicing, doing these practices and so on, we are practicing what it is to be a Buddha. And many times in many of the different practices, it gives the motivations, what the aspirations of those Buddhas were before they became Buddhas to become Buddhas. And then we can see how that their activities, their enlightened activities, now that they are Buddhas, are fulfilling those aspirations. So all that is really encompassed in this King of Prayers here. That process is what is accomplished here, is being able to witness, be able to see that process and allow ourselves to be able to engage in that process. So first we emulate the Buddhas. Then it says to emulate the Bodhisattvas, and then in particular, Amitabha. It says, the eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Amitabha, all good. So that I may act with a skill like his, I dedicate fully all these merits. To purify my body, my speech, and my mind as well, to purify my actions and all realms, may I be the equal of Amitabha in his skill in good dedication. So Amitabha is like the first of the great Bodhisattvas. We've talked before about the 8 great Bodhisattvas. So the eldest of these, the first of these, was the Bodhisattva Amitabha, which means all good, or the all beneficent one, who's nothing but good. And what he represents is this dedication, is this devotion of everything that is being done with body, speech, and mind is for the benefit of the enlightenment of other beings. So dedicating that, devoting his life to that is what is being conveyed here. And it's through this that this is how this is attained, by having this mindset first, to have this devotion. Then as we progress to become the Buddha, it's all these Buddhas did all this through these good actions. They didn't do it with some of these good actions. They didn't do it with none of these good actions. They did it with all these good actions. So again, this here is so concise in being able to bring together the process so clearly for us to be able to, so that we can follow and see what our progress is and see what it is that we need to work on. So may I act with a skill like his, may I dedicate all these merits. And we talk about that at the end of our practices, we do our dedication, and we're dedicating the merit, all the good deeds that we have done through this practice, being able to purify ourselves. We're dedicating those merits that we've attained for ourselves. We're dedicating those for the benefit of other beings. And as we're doing that, we're purifying our body, speech, and mind. To purify my actions and all realms, may be the equal of Amitabha in his good dedication. So he is our exemplar of dedication, our exemplar of devotion is what he means. And all the realms mean the 6 realms of human beings, but also all the Buddha realms. All the different Buddhas have their Buddha fields. And each one of these practices talk about that, and that we begin to recognize those, we begin to see those as within ourselves and what we surround ourselves in. We see our lives in the midst as being Buddhas, we see it in the midst of the Buddha fields. So then the next number C here, it says, to emulate the Bodhisattvas, now Manjushri. In order to perform the full virtue of good actions, I shall act according to Manjushri's prayers of aspiration, and without ever growing weary, in all the eons to come, I shall perfectly fulfill every one of his aims. So remember, Manjushri is the youthful Bodhisattva. And he represents this wisdom of seeing all this phenomenal nature, all this dualistic nature, and bringing everything onto the path. And then being able to liberate all that, to be able to see that all that in its emptiness is all just the display of the true nature of our Buddha nature, of that quietude that we can talk about. So Manjushri went to many teachers over many years. And through each of these teachers, he asked for their guidance. He asked for their prayers, how to attain this Buddha nature. And they each gave him this prayer and so on. But he was not satisfied. It wasn't completing what he was looking for. And then finally, after going through 100 of these different teachers, getting 100 of these different aspiration prayers, then he found Amitabha, the Bodhisattva Amitabha, who gave him this king of prayers. And then this king of prayers, this brought them all together. So like Manjushri, we will carry on through all the different bumpy roads, through all the different trials and tribulations, through all the difficulties of being able to learn all these things and to be able to practice all these things. We will dedicate our lives, we'll be devoted to that as Amitabha, to be able to get to the Buddha field as Amitabha and be able to then be purified and be able to then carry on as the Buddha. We are the Buddha. We see ourselves as the Buddha. So this last line here, or the last two lines, it says, and without ever growing weary, and all the eons to come, all the time that it will take to do this, I shall perfectly fulfill every one of his aims. So the aims to find all these aspirations, to articulate these aspirations, and to fulfill these aspirations. So these are aspirations for training. That we do this as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Yes, did somebody have something to say?
She's wrong. Okay. No signal, and she move into your lane.
Michael, I think you need to mute your microphone, please. See if I can't help him here. Okay, now we got it. Okay. So if anybody has questions or comments, don't hesitate to speak right up.
Who is Samantabra? I can't say it.
Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra. Was it 4 syllables or 5 syllables?
Samantabhadra. Okay.
Samantabhadra.
The oldest of the sons of all the Buddhas. I'm not connecting to that.
The eldest of the sons of the Buddhas. So the Buddhas are beyond being reborn. They are beyond, they are completely liberated, and they're not to be born again. However, their sons and their daughters are those bodhisattvas who are on the path to become Buddhas, who are still human beings.
All right.
And they are, as sons and daughters, they are bodhisattvas, or holy enlightened beings whose mission is to be able to help other beings to attain enlightenment.
Okay. So the Buddhas are no longer human beings?
They have transcended being human beings. They may manifest as a human being.
Okay.
But at the same time, they are not, they do not have any attachment or aversions. They do not have any defilements.
Okay.
They see suffering, they recognize suffering, but they recognize it in others. They themselves have transcended suffering.
Okay.
And so their dharma, their teachings, are to help those beings to be able to get on the path of becoming a bodhisattva, if they're not on the path already, and to lead them to becoming, ultimately becoming Buddhas. Those who are liberated from the suffering of being a human being. Okay, so these are called meditational deities. These are meditational deities. So meditation, because we do these practices and we become, we visualize these deities within ourselves and their activities. We recognize their activities. We learn what they are. We recognize them and we use them to purify ourselves and to help others to purify themselves and so on. But this is done within the meditation. And then the meditation, then when we take the meditation, when we get up off the cushion and we're still in post-meditation, we're taking the meditation with us. There's meditation and there's post-meditation, and there's no difference between the two. So that would be, the next big step that we would want to take. First, we're trying to get there on the cushion. Once we do that, then we get adept at being able to do that on the cushion. Then we can take that into post-meditation with us. And that's how we begin moving up through the spiral that we talked about, the circle of spirals that gets tighter and tighter and so on. We get purer and purer and more succinct.
I'm aspiring to Buddhahood, but I'm emulating Amitabha and Manjushri and the other 8 great bodhisattvas. But why am I not just emulating the Buddha?
Because we need to, we want to do that, but we're not stable enough to be able to do that. We're not pure enough.
So Samantahadra is a stepping stone.
Correct.
Okay.
All the bodhisattvas are like stepping stones, correct?
Okay.
So the 8 great bodhisattvas are the 8 great final stepping stones.
Thank you.
Yes. And again, they are exemplars of the activity of what it is of this process. And it's all within ourselves. All this is within ourselves. When we recognize that we have these powers, that we have this ability, that we are these bodhisattvas, and ultimately to become these Buddhas, you see, that's empowering. This is what's so special about the Tibetan Buddhism, about Vajrayana Buddhism. It's in this school of Buddhism that we learn this, and this lineage of Buddhism that we learn this.
So how is it that Manjushri, who was a human being, who went and talked to 100 different teachers and got some benefit from that, but was still not satisfied, received this teaching from Samantabhadra, who is an imaginary creation?
And so is Manjushri. Manjushri was not a incarnate human being. He's a meditational deity. He's a meditational deity, a meditational bodhisattva.
So one meditational deity got teaching from another meditational deity.
Of course, they are holistic with one another. The 8 great bodhisattvas. So I've talked about them before. You may have it in your notes somewhere, and we can review it again. We'll talk about it again. But there's 8 great bodhisattvas who are the perfection of the highest human qualities to become a Buddha. So yes, remember the analogy I used was like a garden. And there was the cultivation, there was the wisdom of knowing how to cultivate the garden, and there was the devotion and the transformation of the garden becoming alive and so on, and the wisdom that was coming out of this, the fruits that was coming out of this, and the compassion to be able to share this with others, and then the power that came out of this, and then the purification of the overarching purification of all this that led to becoming a Buddha. Those are the eight manifestations, or the eight characteristics of the human being, the highest qualities of human being.
So backing up a little bit, if Manjushri, a meditational deity, received the King of Aspiration prayers from another meditational deity, how is it that that information came to us?
Good question. Buddha Shakyamuni. All this was recited by Buddha Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha.
Thank you.
This is what the sutras are all about. The sutras are the literal teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni. So he became the voice of all this, so to speak. He was experiencing this for our benefit and giving voice to this so that his disciples could hear this and process this. And then we discover that, yes, it's all within ourselves. You know, we're no different than the Buddha, only in the degree of realization that we have. Okay, so now to page 7, point number 16, it says the concluding aspiration. Let my Bodhisattva acts be beyond measure. Let my enlightened qualities be measureless too. Keeping to this immeasurable activity, may I accomplish all the miraculous powers of enlightenment. So, of course, this is a very broad statement, and so this is like, saying that everything that I experience through my practices, through my meditations, may this all be for the benefit of others, and may this all be measured as many immeasurable beings there are. May I have the power, may I have the immeasurable power to be able to meet that for every single one. And that's the next extent of the aspiration. This next one here, after concluding aspiration, says the extent. It says, sentient beings are as limitless as the boundless expanse of space. So shall my prayers of aspiration for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. So may this experience have no bounds. Whatever is necessary, whatever time element we may impute on this, whatever location element we may impute on this, whatever multitude or multiplicity that we may impute on this, may I be able to have power to be able to meet all of that. So this is the prayer of aspiration, of the prayer of good aspirations, good actions. So this is helping us to do that, to see what it is, to process what it is. So now it goes to the next step. It says, what are the benefits of this? Here it's been outlined for us what it is. Now, what are the benefits of it? So that we can examine that, we can see that, we can witness that, and others can witness that to help us. It says the benefits for making these aspirations. It says the benefits for making aspirations in general. And this is really something. These two verses here are very interesting because in some translations, the two verses get switched around, one before the other, but the content is there, the meaning is there. So pay attention, listen to this. Whoever hears this king of dedication prayers, this prayer that we're reciting, and yearns for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses faith, will gain true merit greater still. Then by offering victorious Buddhas, infinite pure realms in every direction, all ornamented with jewels, we're offering them all the highest joys of gods and humans for as many eons as there are atoms in those realms. So what this is saying is that if you have true devotion, if you have true aspiration, if you have true faith in this, is greater than if you bring all these offerings to the temple and you build temples and you do all these material things to honor the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the Sangha and everything. None of that is equal to simple faith and devotion to enlightenment. That's what this is saying. That's the most important thing. People delude themselves by thinking, oh, I can dedicate all these things. I can bring flowers. I can do all these prostrations. I can bring people in. I can do all these things to help propagate, this organization, so to speak. But maybe in their hearts, they're really not pure. They're using these things as replacements for their inability to be able to truly have faith. They think that they are doing this with faith, that this will be recognized, that they're thinking maybe that the Buddha is something outside of themselves. And the Buddha is going to recognize this and say, oh, you've been such a good child, I shall let you, be enlightened. It's not like that. We are the Buddha, that we are making faith in here to ourselves. We don't need to do anything like that for ourselves. It's all within ourselves. The Buddha nature is within ourselves. So this is a very important passage right here, to think about that and to think about what your devotion is, to think about what your dedication is. And it doesn't have to be to Buddha. It can be if we're Christian, if we're Jewish, if we're Muslim, if we're Hindu, any of these traditions, which has, this goal of being this pure being, however, whatever name you want to give to it and so on. If you're doing it with this good intention, with these good actions and so on, that's greater than building all these things and doing all these other things, making all these temporary offerings. So then, point number 2, it lists the 13 benefits in detail. So now it says, whosoever truly makes this aspiration to good actions will never again be reborn in lower realms. They will be free from harmful companions and soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. So the Buddha of boundless light is Amitabha. And we'll get to him in just a second, but I just want to say that this will never again be born in the lower realms. The lower realms are the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realms. So we can, by putting ourselves on this path of devotion and so on, is going to assure that we're not going to be going backwards, that we're not going to be being born again in the animal realm, or as a miserable, hungry ghost who's insatiable. We're beyond that. We're beyond the ignorance of being of an animal. We realize who we are, that what we are, and that we can, as a human being, and that we are something that can control our lives and so on, control our environment to some degree and so on. And we take responsibility for that. The animals can't do that. The hungry ghosts are insatiable. They're miserable. And then the hell beings who are suffering from terrible, as retribution for terrible things that they have done during their lifetime, killing and stealing and defacing and doing terrible things that affect many, many, many people. So we've got past that. So we're not going to go backwards to that. We'll never be born in the lower realms. They'll be free from harmful companions. We'll be able to say, I'm not going to be influenced by people who want to pull me back into these lower realms, these kinds of deeds, these kinds of actions, these kinds of thoughts, and so on. I'm past that now. I can say no to them. And then soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. So this is Amitabha. Amitabha is one of the 5 Buddha families, the heads of the 5 Buddha families. And he is the wisdom of the wisdom of, the wisdom of discriminating awareness. The Buddha of the wisdom of discriminating awareness. So he's a meditational Buddha. He's a meditational Buddha. And so it's through discriminating wisdom at all levels that we can see where we are, make evaluations, and make decisions to be able to move ourselves. Either we're going to allow ourselves to be pulled down, or we can raise ourselves up. But it's the wisdom of discriminating awareness that allows us to see that, the discriminating awareness, what it is I'm going to pay attention to. There are many things in our lives that are important to us. We have our families, we've got our work, we've got our possessions, we got things that we need to be practical about and so on. But there's certain times when we can say, you know what, those things are okay. I don't need to pay attention to that. Now I need to pay attention about my spirituality. I need to pay attention to this higher level. This needs to be a higher priority for me. If there was trouble in the family or something, I may have to come back and pay attention to that. But as soon as I can get that comfortable and stable, now I can go back to paying attention to my spirituality, my priority of doing that. So this boundless light is this wisdom of discriminating awareness. It's always there. It's there now. You may not recognize it, but it's there. Once you recognize that light and see that it's always there, now you have confidence that if I have to deal with my family or my friends or my job or something like that, I can do that. But when that is stable, now I know I can go back to doing the work that I need to do as a spiritual being, because it's boundless light. And that boundless light that we recognize there helps us with our families and so on, helps them to be able, helps us to have compassion for them, and helps us to be able to lead them to this light, to this boundless light, to Buddha Amitabha. So Buddha Amitabha is a meditational deity. There's 5 meditational deities. And the 5, so this is the wisdom of discriminating awareness, who is the most accessible for us as human beings. When we say that when we die, that when we leave our bodies behind and our intellect goes behind with it and everything, and we become pure spirit, the first thing that we visualize, that we teach ourselves or we learn to visualize, is this Buddha Amitabha, because it's this wisdom of discriminating awareness. So where are we? We're now in the bardo of death. We're now in that intermediate state of death. And then we go into the intermediate state of reality. To the other side of what we call living is this intermediate state of reality and so on. So we learn all that what's happening within in that space. So this is all characterized as this boundless light. The other 5 Buddhas are Ascobia is the wisdom of the mirror-like wisdom, seeing that all things are as appearances. And then there's the wisdom of equanimity, seeing that everything is the same, seeing the sameness of all things. And then there's the all-accomplishing wisdom, that we have the power to be able to accomplish all the things that are necessary. All the things are already accomplished. All we need to do is just abide with those things. And then there's the wisdom of all-pervading wisdom, to be able to see that there is this wisdom is everywhere. This manifestation, this phenomenal nature we see is a display of that wisdom, of the Buddha mind, of the true Buddha, of the true nature that we have within ourselves. That quietude has this display, the all-pervading wisdom. So through our practices, we learn those different Buddhas. We learn those different wisdoms. We've talked about this before, and they become the perfection of the stability of the 5 poisons. You remember the 5 poisons were the building blocks of the 84,000 emotions. So we talked about this, months ago, and we're going to start talking about it next month when we start over our next cycle of Buddhism 101. We're going to go back to the book, and we're going to start back at chapter 1. And I can almost assure you that you're going to have lights going off in your head that you didn't have before, because you're going to be seeing more things coming together. You're going to see this more whole-on activity coming together. The interaction of all this stuff is going to make more sense. So this is the benefit in detail. Here it's saying, behold the Buddha of boundless light, Amitabha, the wisdom of discriminating awareness. Then it says, they will acquire all kinds of benefits and live in happiness. Even in this present life, all will go well. And before long, they will become just like Samantabhadra. So you see that your life gets simpler. And in that simplicity comes more happiness, more satisfaction, and maybe more satisfaction with less. We don't need all the stuff that we have to work and maintain, and we're in that gerbil cage where we're constantly running around in that cage, the merry-go-round of life and so on. We begin to simplify. So that's a great benefit. And then it says, all things will go well. We'll start seeing that we start making wiser decisions. And that we will become just like Samantabhadra, this Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, who has devotion and who is, has dedication, who sees the wisdom of devotion, who sees the wisdom of dedication. And because of that wisdom of dedication and devotion, they begin to move up that spiral to perfection, to Buddhahood, to true nature. So they become just like Samantabhadra. Then it says, all negative acts, even the 5 of immediate retribution, whatever they may have committed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified if they recite the aspiration of good actions. So all our negative acts, all the things that we think about, even the 5 of immediate retribution, those are the ones where you kill your father, you kill your mother, you kill a arhat, you kill a holy person, or that you deface the church, you deface the temple, you deface the Buddha in some way, or that you You cause a schism. You cause a schism in the Sangha, in the church, in the temple, people's spirituality, and they're working to get their spirituality together, and they're really committed to it and everything. But then if somebody comes in and starts driving a wedge between those people, that's a big sin. That's a terrible thing to do that, because these people all have, aspirations to do the good thing. But if someone's appealing to their unpurified desires and so on, and pulling them back into, the lower existences, that's a terrible thing to do. So those 5 things are the 5 of immediate retribution. Whatever they have committed in the grip of ignorance, so whatever they've done through just shutting themselves off, sticking their heads in the sand, when they had the opportunity to learn something, to be able to practice something, but they shut it out. The ego got up and said, oh, no, you don't need to do that. Why are you following that? We can have much more fun without following that. You don't need to be the goody two shoes, or any expression you wish to use like that. It's much more fun to be you in your normal state of going around and getting over on people all the time. So all that will be completely purified if they recite this aspiration of good actions. So the more you recite this aspiration of good actions, the more obvious it becomes. The first time you say, oh, wow, this is a beautiful prayer. This really sounds great. Wow, this is like a meditation. This is really serious. This is good stuff, but then you don't repeat it again. And after a period of time, it just kind of fades away. And you go about doing your everyday stuff that you've been doing for the, early part of your life and so on. But if you take up reciting this aspirational prayer every day or every week or every couple of days, whatever you can do to stabilize this, and you start examining, you really start thinking about every one of these verses and start bringing these into your life and start transforming your life, then that becomes very, very, very powerful. And the question I would have for anybody about this is, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to be a person of good actions? Why wouldn't you want to be a holy person? It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you got to be a Buddhist. You could be any of the different traditions that you wish to be, but to be a good being, to be a good human being, to be you can be a humanist, but just to be a good human being. So then the next is, they will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent signs, be born in a good family and with a radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and all 3 worlds will honor them with offerings. So they will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent signs. So they begin to take on this aura of confidence, this aura of wisdom, this aura of integrity. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, how you hold yourself in the beginning, but you find that as this develops and so on, you develop this humility and of this pridefulness, but it's not an egotistical pridefulness. It's a pridefulness of this holy spiritual quality that we have within ourselves, and our bearing changes. And we feel different within ourselves, our confidence, and other people recognize that. To be born in a good family with radiant appearance. And so in this life, maybe the rest of our lives, however many years we have left, 40 years or 50 years or 20 years or 5 years, whatever it is, our new family, whether it's our blood family, or now it's our spiritual family, but in any case, it becomes a better family because we're seeking each other. You know, we're not going to commiserate with lower people. We're going to find people like ourselves. So our family is going to change. We'll be a good family, and in the broader sense that when we pass from this life, and that we're reborn again as a human being, that we're born in a noble family who will help us to regain, to pick up where we figuratively left off in this life, and so that through that we will have nobility and so on, have this radiant appearance. You know, you probably have met people who you know at a very young age that they have this certain quality about them. They're wiser beyond their years, we would say. You know, sometimes it's just street smarts, but sometimes there's a spirituality there. And I think that's what we're really talking about here, is that spirituality. So then the next part says, demons and heretics will never harm them. So no matter, you know, what these other beings are, as we get confident in this aspiration of good actions and so on, now we're not going to be very influenced at all. It's not even easily influenced. We're not going to be influenced at all. It's like we've built up an immunity to negativity. Demons and heretics will not harm them, and all three worlds will honor them with offerings. So we say that there's three worlds. There's many ways of looking at this, but the simplest way is looking at this is the world in which we are living in, this physical world. But then there's like a subterranean world that we don't see, but yet there is all these creatures and so on, figuratively. And then that there are these higher above, this above world, this nether world, or this heaven world, or something like that, you know, and that all these beings of these three worlds will honor us, honor those who have made these aspirations for good actions. That we will find that things will begin to materialize, things will begin to happen, as long as we're doing good things. We start using negative things. If we start using these things for negative, you'll see all this come crashing down really fast. But you'll see that whatever you are doing to do good deeds, you will find sustenance in that from these three different worlds. And then the next page, it says they will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree. So the Bodhi tree represents, is symbolic of the enlightenment tree that the Buddha Shakyamuni sat under when he attained enlightenment. So for us, maybe it's another Bodhi tree. Maybe it's a room in our house. Maybe it's a temple that we go to. Maybe it's the beach that we went to on vacation. Maybe it's to a mountaintop that we went to on another vacation. But it's some place that we go to that is very quiet in terms of extraneous noise and complication in our minds and so on, a place where we can develop one-pointed mindfulness and attain glimpse after glimpse and stabilization of enlightenment. They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree, and there they will sit to benefit all sentient beings. So there the enlightenment comes and says, I can't do this for myself alone. If I do, it is selfish in nature. I do this for the benefit of other beings. That is part of the enlightenment. Then awaken into enlightenment. Awaken and realize all this stuff, be able to see all this phenomenal nature for what it is, what it truly is. It's all temporary. It's all necessary on one side of the hand, but on the other side of the hand, it's completely unnecessary. We're in a spot we have those hands. We've got that dualistic nature. But at the same time, we can transcend that dualism and be able to go to that quietude, to be able to go to that dusk gone state of being a Buddha, of being an awakened one, who is beyond the attachments or the aversions to this dualistic nature. Awaken into enlightenment and turn the wheel of Dharma. So the wheel of Dharma is recognizing how this all goes around, seeing that everything goes around and seeing this as a wheel, and seeing that the wheel is like a spiral, and it spirals till it gets to a single point, to that one pointed mindfulness. And then we can make that leap, if you will, into our true nature, into our Buddha nature. And turn that wheel of Dharma for ourselves and for other beings, for the enlightenment of other beings. And it says, and then tame Mara with all his hordes. So Mara is our ego. Mara is our demons. Mara is the stuff that confuses us. Mara is all our contaminations. All our defilements is Mara. And all the different ways in which it permeates into our lives and so on. So that's a Mara and all his hordes. So if you remember going back, several months ago when we were studying the Wheel of Existence, and I gave everybody, the wheel with the 6 realms of human existence and so on. And the Wheel of Existence was in the grasp and the clutches of this demon, and that was Mara. So Mara is the Sanskrit word for demon. And so it's in the clutches of that and breaking free of that. So these are the 13, what we just went through, are the 13 benefits in detail. And it would be a good exercise to go and count the 13, number the 13 in there, find the 13 in there. It's a good exercise. And then the third part here, it says the benefits in brief. It says the full result of keeping, teaching, or reading this prayer of aspiration of good actions is known to the Buddhas alone. The full result of this is known to the Buddhas alone. What that means is if you completely understand everything that is being put forth here, if you understand it to the point that you are the embodiment of this, it's not something that you aspire to, it's something that you are. This is only known by the Buddha. Then at that point you can say, I am the Buddha. I recognize, I realize my Buddha nature. I realize myself as Buddha. And it says, have no doubt, supreme enlightenment will be yours. So if you put yourself on the path to practice these good actions, to use this as a guide for the rest of your life, then there will be at the very least glimpse after glimpse after glimpse, if not visions of your Buddha nature, or whatever nature you want to call it, true nature, the quietude of Christ or God or Jehovah or whatever name you wish to use. You'll recognize it. So I think at this point, that's enough for tonight. And then we'll continue next week and the week after. We got 2 more sessions of this. We've been doing this for 6 weeks. So it's an 8-week session. So we'll continue this. So I hope that this has been some kind of inspiration in whatever way. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Could you, as you did on a previous, another meeting, could you send us the recording link for this so that we can at home to the Om Mani Padme Hum's play back what we did today and do that. by
Certainly.
ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Michael is recording this and he will process this and get this up, and he can send it to me, and I will send it out on our email to everybody so that you can have it, download it, and so on like that. Yes. Where
Thank you very much.
you go to YouTube. You can go to YouTube and see it, and if you want to download it from there, you can do that.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other comment?
Well, I'm glad to have the prayer traced back to Sakyamuni. You may have said that before. It may actually be in the prayer, but it's the first time that my mind has been awakened to that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. If you go back to page 3 in this booklet, and you see up at the top, you see the title? So you see the last line of the title, it says from the Ganduvaya chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So there it's identified, the sutra that it comes from, and the chapter, it's the last chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra that this prayer comes from. So you see, it's that wheel going around. I mean, we've gone over this several times, but at some point, for every one of us, you know, it clicks. And the point at which it clicks is different for all of us. You know, some people might get it right away. Some people, it needs to go around 10 or 20 times before it clicks. And somebody in between, you know, but that's why we keep repeating these things. That's why we keep doing these things. Part of it is our defenses come down because our ego is talking to us. Oh, why are you paying attention to this? And then meanwhile, somebody's talking and saying something really important, and you're thinking about, oh, I'd rather be doing something else, and you miss it altogether. You know, but then another time you hear it and you say, oh, I never heard that before. Is it? Yeah, you were talking to yourself, and that's why you missed it before. I mean, this is part of our human nature, isn't it? Isn't this what we do?
Indeed.
You know, sometimes, you know, I'm watching the news, and I'm pretty quiet when I'm watching the news. But when I'm with somebody who starts talking over top of the people that are talking, drives me nuts. I said, they're going to tell you something, you know, and they start telling me about this, that, and the other thing. And I said, you know, so it's that same thing. You know, somebody's talking to you and disrupts your concentration. When it's ourselves, we have nobody to blame but ourselves. But that's why we repeat it over and over again. That's the wisdom of the ancients who devised this system, this Dharma system. This was the genius of the Buddha, Shakyamuni.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Thomas. Well, if no one else has anything else to add, then we can do our dedications. So we can go to our book, page 18, our prayer book, page 18. And we'll go through the dedication prayer to up to and including Jigdan Sumgun. So we say, Dorje Chang, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dormalorgam Popa, Pagma Drupa, and Lordri Kumpa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessing of all the Kaju Lamas. By this virtue, may I achieve the all-knowing state, and may all who travel in the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies, confusion, the cause of suffering. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activity spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri, the warrior, realized the ultimate state, that's who we've been talking about. As Manjushri, the warrior, realized the ultimate state, and as did Amitabha, that's who we're talking about. I will follow in their path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate word of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikumpa, Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana and the innate word of virtue not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Mars, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious enlightenment. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of the Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Om. Ah. Om. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all beings. Thank you all very much. If anybody has questions, comments, you want to talk, I'm here. So we can talk among ourselves and be glad to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Lance.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Lance.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thanks,
much.
Lance.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lance.
You're welcome, Ed. Thank you.
Good
All
night.
right.
all.
Okay, good night.